The impermanence of love, like the morning mist upon the mountain, feels serene and eternal, yet, as the sun rises, the mist fades, revealing the bare, unyielding stone beneath. Why does love change? Why do people who once looked at you with warmth suddenly turn away with cold indifference? In Zen and Buddhist philosophy, impermanence, anicca, is one of the fundamental truths of existence. All things, including emotions, relationships, and attachments, are subject to change. The Buddha once said, "When someone loses their love for you, they do not announce it with a grand farewell. Instead, they exhibit two silent but profound actions that mark the death of what once was. 1. Withholding their presence. 2. Becoming someone else." Understanding these behaviors will help you find peace, let go, and embrace love's transient nature rather than suffer through its loss. Let us explore these lessons through a Zen parable of love, loss, and the wisdom of letting go. The story of the falling leaves. There was once a traveler, a man of deep thought and quiet nature, who spent his days seeking to understand the heart. He had known love, felt its warmth, and believed in its eternity. Yet one day, the one he loved, the one who once held his hand with gentle certainty, began to change. At first, the signs were subtle, like the first leaf that falls from a tree before autumn fully arrives. Then, the changes became unmistakable. Words became fewer, glances became shorter. The air between them thickened with the silence of unspoken truths. Seeking wisdom, the traveler went to an old monk who lived in the mountains, a man whose presence was like still water, calm, reflective, and full of unseen depths. "Master," the traveler asked, "I fear that love is slipping from my grasp. The one who once walked beside me now walks ahead, indifferent to whether I follow or not. What have I done wrong?" The old monk closed his eyes for a moment and then spoke. "When love fades, it does not vanish like smoke in the wind. It withdraws like the tide, revealing the shore that was always there. Watch closely, and you will see the two signs. Sign 1. Withholding their presence. The monk led the traveler to a small garden where a tree stood tall, its branches wide, providing shade. A young bird rested in the tree, chirping happily. "Do you see this bird?" the monk asked. The traveler nodded. "Now watch." The monk gently waved his hand, and the bird, sensing the disturbance, flew away. "Love," the monk said, "is like this bird. When it is comfortable, it lingers, singing, making a home in your presence. But when love begins to fade, it withdraws. They will no longer sit close to you. Their laughter will not be as free. Their words will no longer flow like a river but drip like the last drops from an empty jug. This is the first sign. When someone loses their love for you, they withhold their presence, even if their body remains. Sign 2. Becoming someone else. The monk led the traveler further into the garden where a pond lay still and clear, reflecting the sky above. "Look into the water," the monk instructed. The traveler bent down and saw his reflection staring back at him. It was familiar, yet somehow different in the shifting ripples. "Now," the monk said, "observe." He picked up a small stone and dropped it into the pond. The water trembled. The reflection shattered. In its place was a new form, distorted, unfamiliar. When someone loses their love for you, the monk explained, they do not only withdraw their presence, they become someone else. The person who once laughed at your jokes, who once sought your company, will now seem like a stranger. Their face is the same, but their heart is elsewhere. Their words no longer carry warmth. Their touch no longer holds meaning. This is the second sign. The one you knew is gone, replaced by someone different. How to let go with wisdom and grace. The traveler, heavy with sorrow, asked, "So what should one do? Should I chase after them? Should I beg them to stay?" The monk shook his head. "Would you chase the bird that has flown away? Would you beg the tree to hold on to its falling leaves?" The traveler sighed, feeling the weight of the monk's words settle in his chest. The monk continued. 1. Do not chase what is already leaving, clinging to love that 2. is withdrawing only creates suffering. 3. Honor the love that once was. Be grateful for its time rather 4. than resentful of its departure. 5. Release attachment, not love. Love does not mean ownership. 6. True love allows freedom. 7. Turn towards yourself. The love you seek is already within you. 8. Nurture your own heart instead of longing for another's presence. The ultimate truth. Love is not gone, it has transformed. At the end of his journey, the traveler came to a great river. He stood at its edge and watched as the water flowed endlessly forward. He thought about the one who had left him. He thought about the pain, the longing. The nights spent wondering why. And then, as he watched the river, he understood. Love had not disappeared, it had simply changed form. The love he once knew had become something else, a lesson. A memory, a part of his own growth. It had left him, but in leaving, it had also shaped him. The love that had once been in another's eyes was now in his own reflection. Love had not died, it had simply moved, as all things must. With this realization, the traveler did not cry. He did not grieve. Instead, he bowed, not to loss, not to pain, but to love itself, in all its forms. And then, he walked forward. Not in search of love, but in acceptance of it, wherever it may come and however it may leave. For love is not something to be held. It is something to be lived. Final thoughts. If you are facing the loss of love, remember, you are not broken. And you are not alone. The impermanence of love is not a tragedy. It is a teaching. Embrace change, let go with grace, and you will find that love, in its infinite forms, will always return to you.